Don't watch that. Watch this.
These two bots are probably the ones that are most encumbered by the mechanism of the combiners. Let's have a look at Dr. Crank, aka Hook, first. Articulation-wise, he gets off pretty lightly, right on the hip. I think the most you can get his legs apart is about 75 degrees. He has a very low knee, but nice deep cut. And the kibble at the top of the knee tends to sort of balance out proportions a little. Are on a
ball joint at the top for
transformation, though that's very hindered by the back plate. A mushroom joint just at the bicep, hinge at the elbow, nothing at the hands, although I do really like the details. Again, very well sculpted in on these. The head has absolutely nothing. I thought it was moulded in, but whilst I'm looking at the heads, that's one big complaint that I've got about all of these, is that the heads are pretty generic. Made me think more about what made the Constructicons heads actually something that stood out. It was those very blocky, visored work masks that they had. I don't know whether it's the fact that these are just exactly the same green as the rest of them that mean it doesn't stand out, but I think that when I start to mod these up, that's one of the first things I've really got to look at. Transformation on him, dead simple for one half, little more complex for the other. The legs, plug together, bend over like practically every car bot you've ever seen. He has these little tabs on either side. They come out purely for final combined form. The arms are a little more fiddly to actually line up. And I'd probably like something a little bit stronger there than a ball joint. But once you've got those, it really is just a case of spinning the arms round, plugging those in to the top there, and squeezing everything together. And there you have his long base, 1 second, crane. Now the crane can fit on the back in robot mode, but there's really no point because of the lack of articulation on it. The best you can hope for is to use it as a display stand. It does move up and down. It's got quite a nice soft ratchet. It does extend out to quite a decent distance actually. Let me see if I can show that off. Shame there's no hook or anything at the end, but I have Energon toy of a very similar construction that I think is going to donate a slightly better crane arm for this one. Again, he suffers from generic robot head. Actually, long haul, as you probably know, his head pretty much reminds me of sort of a smaller version of the combined robot head. Again, neither have anything to do with the Devastator we know and love, but let's concentrate on this guy. Articulation-wise, he's not doing fantastically. I mean, legs go forward, backward a little bit. Again, a very low knee, and sideways. This is all quite soft, and considering that he has to support pretty much the entire robot on that joint, that's a little bit scary. What's even more scary, if I can show you the back, is that this tiny little piece of plastic is what the entire waist joint, not only of this robot, but of Devastator, relies on. So yeah, that's not filling me with confidence. His head articulation is non-existent. The arms are on that sort of Gundam-esque ball joint and T-joint. He has rotation at the elbow, mainly for transformation and nothing else, and the hands have a little bit of movement, mainly again due to transformation. I'm being quite negative about these figures, but I actually do like them. I do like them, considering how cheap they are and what they try to do. They are brave toys. Transformation's pretty easy. Line up the arms, whack those back, open the front up and pop the head down. That should be where this weird shovel thing fits in. And then it just tabs quite nicely in to the arms there. Legs fold double. Just have to work it around that crotch plate. Disappear into there, and everything just actually snaps into gaps really nicely. Considering how thin the plastic is, I thought I was going to be sort of far more scared to transform this stuff. Oh, I forgot to flip the fists. Yeah, that makes it a little bit better. But I'm not actually as scared pushing this together as I have been with some of the big expensive third-party ones. Maybe because if this breaks, I know that I can actually afford to replace it. But yeah, there you have a very decent little dump truck. Ready for combiner mode. Unplug the legs, and you've got most of it done. Bend that back. Just turn that round. There's a tiny little hole, again a screw hole at the back. That looks like that should plug together to just give it a lot more stability. One last little thing is move this all the way forwards. Got two holes there, and I will show you what they are for in a minute as we go back to Dr. Crank, and which I am going to do with and then fold that in half. Gonna fold the ladder up and put that onto the back there, and fold out these two connector ports at the side. And then these two pegs here are the beginnings of interacting here with those two holes. That gives a very stable plugged in start, but that's not the whole story. That little clip on his right hand side, if you push down, grips that little bar there. The cab folds up into that space, and as you can see, it's still pretty much all over the place. I'm just gonna take the chest shield. Again, that's a very simplified version of the G1 version, and make sure that it goes onto those two nubbins at the front, and that's pretty much holding it together. If you want to see the arms, click on either of these. If you want to go back and have a look at the legs, click here. But if you want to go back to the main video and see me finally put him together as a giant robot, click there.